Atelier is full of distinct sub-series and some games have mashed them together, but none have been a full-fledged role-playing game until now. Enter Atelier Resleriana, the Red Alchemist and the White Guardian. It's a unique title that carries the spirit of the similarly named mobile game as it's set in the same universe, but this is truly a separate game altogether. How does this world-hopping alchemic adventure fare? Well, let's go down a dimensional path and find out. Welcome to Hellfade. It's a seemingly ordinary pastoral land with a mysterious tragic past. By happenstance, Rias and Slade discover an otherworldly atelier, and soon enough, they're swept up into rebuilding their town as they investigate nearby situations and far-off lands. Their journey takes them through all sorts of locales as they encounter characters from other Atelier titles, and while there are plenty of new characters, these character cameos define the game. It feels like a roller coaster as you never really know who's appearing next, or when, and sometimes these guest appearances can seem arbitrary as they can quite literally jump in from nowhere. Some of these also seem a bit too brief for their own good, but the playable characters' dialogue is pretty entertaining. It's amusing hearing alchemists talk about their unique experiences from other worlds. During a sequence referencing a certain airheaded protagonist from the Arland games, I chuckled as the characters had wild misconceptions. But even if you don't know the inside references, the game does just enough to contextualize everyone without going overboard. I still love the characters from the Arland and Dusk subseries to this day, so it's pretty fun to see them come back in a new light. As for the new protagonists Rias and Slade, I initially thought their design and personality were a bit too ordinary, and for a while I really didn't care about them very much, but despite their archetypal personalities, I did end up enjoying their cheesy heartfelt interactions as they learn to work together. And in a way, they effectively act like neutral observers as you encounter the zany melting pot of characters, and there's just enough mystery sprinkled into the mix to maintain your interest as they explore the mysteries of alchemy, even if these cryptic teasers come across as a bit forced. The game harkens back to Atelier's core flow. You complete objectives by exploring, synthesizing items, and battling, but this game has a few additional wrinkles like needing to set up shop to make money. You also have to level this shop up to advance the story, and oh, you'll even travel into roguelike inspired dungeons too. Although each system feels lightweight on its own, the fact there are so many mechanics means you'll need to juggle everything, and it can take some time to grasp the game's flow. And as the game progresses, you'll amass a ton of ingredients, but scrolling and filtering through the list to sell items is a bit clunkier than it needs to be. But what I really like is that there's a constant feeling of empowerment. You're always accumulating skill points so that you can unlock each member's passives and skills. And new recipe, ingredient, and gear discoveries can quickly lead to some quantifiable boosts, so the sense of discovery always feels meaningful. With features like replicating items, auto-refilling stocks, having a huge basket, and more, the game strikes a solid balance of having modern conveniences while still embracing the series' idiosyncrasies. Recent entries like the Ryza subseries and Yumiya have included more action-based battle systems, but this game returns to turn-based combat. It's an invigorating battle system, but it takes a while to get cooking. You won't really experience the full depth of the stacked back-to-back attacks until you have a full party, but once you do, it's quite flashy and fun. To really utilize the system, you'll have to grind to unlock skills for everyone as newer members won't have any skill points whatsoever, but fortunately, grinding for skill points doesn't take too long. At first, I did feel like the playable roster was a bit too limited. Atelier has many characters, so it's going to be hard to please everyone, but for what it's worth, I actually think the roster works pretty well. It fits within the battle system, and it represents multiple sub-series, so I can't really argue with these character picks even if their roles initially seem to overlap a bit. One battle-related quirk is that the bosses are kind of overbearing. Some hit hard and knock out team members quickly even if you're geared up and prepared. It does make you pay attention to all of the game's mechanics, but perhaps these bosses may still be a bit too jarring. Precision guards can really save your skin if you defend at the right time, but given that the battles are otherwise completely turn-based, it feels a little strange having timing-based guarding. The areas are curious. There's a more traditional set of forested paths and ruins at home, with awe-inspiring locales outside of town, and then the dungeons are completely surreal, so there's a decent amount of variety. However, the actual map design takes a step back from Atelier Resleriana's and Atelier Yumiya's. The traversal process is pretty basic, as it really just amounts to running and swinging onto ledges and breaking down walls. And although accessing different areas after upgrading your gear is nothing new, this game just has different colors for hooks and breakable walls, which feels a bit flat and artificial. You're forced to return later once you have the matching color. The areas aren't particularly expansive and lack memorable points of interest. This is particularly evident in the dungeons, which are really just boxy rooms with connecting paths. The traversal is fun enough, but each floor feels pretty similar as they lack differentiating traps or other obstacles. Atelier's art direction and musical soundscape are among its most distinguishing features, and this game is no exception. It's luminous, and it maintains a vibrant, stylized flair. And the facial expressions, eyes, and these varied close-up camera shots really add a lot of character to the cutscenes. Everything just looks lively. The field songs really accentuate the relaxing nature of these biomes, and as always, the battle songs are upbeat and well crafted while being less intense than those of prior Atelier games. And just for good measure, veterans may recognize some cameos tunes too. So overall, Atelier Resleriana is an interesting game to review and recommend. On the one hand, the sheer number of cameos and references cater to veterans, but their favorites may or may not be present, and some mechanics might feel a bit lightweight. But on the other hand, newcomers can still approach it as a role-playing game with simulation and dungeon crawling aspects. Even if they don't know Atelier's history, they can still enjoy this game so long as they aren't too baffled by these cameos. It definitely feels weird that every guest character just so happens to know Resna, the mobile game's protagonist, which makes the player even feel like a bit of an outsider. But perhaps in this world, Resna had a lot better luck with her polls than I did when I was playing the mobile game. Joking aside, 2025 is shaping up to be a notable year for the whole series. Between the tradition-breaking Yumiya, this game, and the upcoming Ryza DX trilogy, there are certainly plenty of ways to jump into the series. So if you're seeking something more grounded that follows the series' traditional turn-based flow, this is a worthy pick. And adventuring with Rias and Slade and this world-hopping bunch of guests is entertaining, even if it's a bit of a haphazard ride. Thanks for watching a review. This has been Vin with the CFG. If you're interested in more game content, please subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you guys on the next one.